This looks like an ordinary family photo, doesn't it? But this family is in no way ordinary. They own castles, banks, hospitals, wineries, and more. Some people say they have $2 trillion in assets around the world and even control global politics. But who is this family? The roots of their success go back to 5 brothers who together built the most powerful dynasty in the world, the Rothschild dynasty. The Rothschilds are a Jewish family from the ghetto whose tremendous success started in Frankfurt of the 18th century. Founding banks in all over Europe, the brothers quickly accumulated a fortune and became one of the wealthiest families of that time.
They built altogether 44 houses. They collected like mad. They bought lots of land.
Until today, the Rothschilds have bonds to extremely powerful leaders and important business people. For centuries, this family has been flooded with conspiracy theories and myths.
New World Order, Mr. Rothschild?
Right?
New World Order? Depopulation?
Oh, listen, who are you...
Genocide?
Who are you televising for?
Well, we're independent
Yeah.
filmmakers. But you have nothing to say, Mr. Rothschild.
The family is considered extremely secretive and avoids conversations about this topic. But why are the Rothschilds so much in the spotlight? How and where did the family's success run its course? To get answers to these questions, let's jump back to the 18th century, the foundation for the successful banking dynasty and also for myths and legends. The Rothschild story is also this very astonishing rapid rise from the Frankfurt ghetto to the top of the European banking world. Within this ghetto, a truly extraordinary family begins to take shape. Meyer Amschel Rothschild and his wife bring 19 children into the world. 10 of their children survive, evenly divided between 5 sons and 5 daughters. The Rothschilds, like the other Jews, are subject to harsh restrictions. They have to live inside the worst part of town and are subject to rampant anti-Semitism. For example, they are not allowed to practice any trade. Without much choice, Meyer Amschel tries his luck as a coin dealer. It soon becomes evident that he possesses a natural talent for this trade. His business begins to prosper. The family slowly but surely escapes the ghetto and establishes itself in the upper middle class. Meyer Amschel has such a good reputation that he even manages the Crown Prince's finances. His specialty? Government bonds. Meyer Amschel Rothschild sells government bonds which are then usually bought by wealthy citizens and thus give a loan to the respective country. Governments can now spend the money on wars or invest it in the economy. He passes this knowledge on to his sons, who gradually enter the business. Among these rising figures is the third eldest, Nathan. His father has a special plan for him, which would lay the foundation for the Rothschild dynasty to come. He sends Nathan to England, a decision he would never regret. But before we explain how Nathan made the Rothschild name legendary, I want to mention that part of this video was inspired by the book The House of Rothschild from the historian Niall Ferguson. It goes even deeper and explores what role corruption and close contact with political elites played in the rise of the family. I personally saved a lot of time by using today's video sponsor Blinkist in order to understand the key ideas of the book. The Blinkist app enables you to understand the most important things from over 6,500 non-fiction books and podcasts in just 15 minutes each. You can either read them or listen to it on your phone. The creators of Blinkist are great at extracting the most important concepts and ideas from a book and making them really engaging. It's also great for us ambitious people who don't have much time. but are still hungry to learn more. And here are some of the books on my list, which I also invite you to check out in the app. So the first one is called More Money Than God by Sebastian Mallaby, Hedge Funds and the Making of a New Elite. It's a great book, it's super entertaining to read, and I think it's super close to everyone's heart who watches this channel. The second one, and this one is especially close to my heart, it's great for any man, I would say, who's trying to find his way in this world and who sometimes maybe feels like a lonely wolf, and that's called Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. Rediscover the meaning of life with this book. It's really great. And the last one I want to shout out, because there's a lot of finance chats on this channel, is called Berkshire Beyond Buffett by Lawrence A. Cunningham. And they also have a new feature called Blinkist Spaces, which allows you to create a space with friends or family where you can add, share and recommend titles from the Blinkist library, all in one place in the app. And a space can be for a group of people or a topic like productivity or finance. And then all members of a shared space can access all titles in the space with or without a Blinkist premium subscription. So that's really cool. Get a 7-day free trial and 25% off Blinkist annual premium by using my promo link in the description. Check it out down below. And thanks again Blinkist for sponsoring. Check the link below to subscribe.
Equipped with a massive amount of knowledge and capital from the prince. In London, Nathan made history by establishing the first Rothschild bank outside Germany. But Nathan isn't alone in the business of building an empire. He shares his ambition with his 4 equally driven brothers. Together, they don't want to merely continue their father's success, but bring it to heights never seen before. The idea of founding a European bank network is born. At this point, the brothers don't know that this idea will later make them fabulously wealthy. Following Nathan's footsteps, his brother Jacob establishes the next Rothschild bank in the city of Paris. A year later, the father dies. The eldest son, Amschel Meyer, takes over the management of the Frankfurt Bank. 3 years later, the second oldest, Salomon, founds yet another bank in Vienna, and lastly Kallman one in Naples. Now, the brothers occupy 5 important European metropolises. Although they are geographically far apart, they always act as a unit. They pool their assets to achieve greater capital power. If one of the brothers gets into financial trouble, the others help out. This next collaborative approach to banking begins to bear fruit and catapults the Rothschild family towards an era where their influence becomes legendary. Their bank becomes the largest in Europe, which dominates the international bond market and finances several governments in times of crisis. In fact, the bank Rothschild & Co. exists until today and is one of the world's largest independent financial institutions. You thought their success story ends here? It hasn't even started. This economic success made the Rothschilds a target for propaganda even then. Unimpressed by the voices and hatred, the brothers continue their business. And their success too. In a long line of cunning businessmen in the Rothschild family, Nathan is perhaps one of the most influential for the fate of the dynasty. During the war 1813 against France, Nathan almost single-handedly finances the British war effort. And when the English General Wellington runs out of physical gold to pay his soldiers, the English treasury officials turn to none other than him. For Nathan, this presents a literal golden opportunity to establish his reputation as a trustworthy banker. He succeeds in supplying the English troops with gold and profits handsomely from the deal. One key factor that sets the Rothschilds apart is their ability to leverage their extensive network effectively. They communicate regularly in Hebrew script and exchange information almost daily. A dense network of agents delivers their letters faster than anyone else. In a time without Twitter, X, information travels slow, and their proximity to governments and diplomats give the Rothschild a serious advantage. They often gain valuable insider information and use it to their advantage, particularly in order to anticipate bond prices. They share this valuable information with the whole family to their advantage. A sophisticated system. This is also the reason why Nathan receives the news of Wellington's victory against Napoleon a full day ahead of the government's official messengers. Contrary to popular belief, his first move is not exploiting the information advantage for immediate profit and humiliating the government. Instead, his courier immediately shares the news with the public. But that doesn't mean the Rothschilds don't make money too. In fact, this was the beginning of one of the most profitable trades in Rothschild history. Nathan realizes that when news of the victory spread, the government would borrow less money because the war was ending. This would make British government bonds more valuable. So even though they were expensive at the time, he buys a lot of these bonds. And trust me, with the wealth the Rothschild already amassed at the time, I mean a lot of bonds. Then, when the moment is ripe and the bond prices surge again, Nathan makes a fortune. A legendary trade, especially considering it is around a relatively stable and boring asset class such as government bonds. Nathan ascends to probably the richest man in Europe at that time, and the Rothschilds become probably the richest family in Europe. In the following years, things continued to go steeply uphill for the Rothschilds. Industrialization fires up a veritable railroad fever. In Austria, Salomon sees big potential in railroad construction and builds one of the largest high-speed lines in the world. He gets involved in the Northern Railway. His brother Jacob becomes the owner of the French Northern Railway. The family's fortune and pedigree keep growing. Eventually, the five Rothschild families become so powerful that they could fulfill the role played by the International Monetary Fund in the present day. They stabilized major currencies and loaned money to governments, of course while making huge profits in the meantime. But unlike the monetary fund, the Rothschilds are profiting in two ways on each trade. The first one is in the form of good old boring commissions of up to 8%. But the second, truly revolutionary way is by exploiting different exchange rates throughout Europe. By leveraging their communication system, they can buy bonds and currencies in one city and almost immediately sell them in another for a profit. They essentially invent arbitrage trading on a large scale, allowing them to make insane returns, because unlike any other trade, there is no risk involved. By 1830, they accumulate about £4 million, which is more than 10 times that of their biggest competitor. The family has the power to decide over loans to entire countries and thereby over the fate of nations. As the revolution rages in France and it seems like another war is looming on the horizon, Gudle Rothschild, the mother of the Rothschild dynasty, isn't losing any sleep about it. She famously declares, "There won't be war in Europe because my sons won't provide money for it." While technically the five brothers hold equal stake and power within the company, Nathan Rothschild's office in London stands out as the most lucrative and influential. He not only leads the family, but is also seen as the cornerstone of the entire financial system. So much so that weeks prior to his death, markets are already falling, as this event means sudden changes for Europe. Amidst this pivotal moment in the Rothschild legacy, the family solidifies their claim to power. They also accompany and profit immensely from numerous historic events in the 19th century, ranging from a minority stake in the Suez Canal to financing the first oil well in the Old World. An expert for dynasties is shocked about their ever-existing power.
I do believe there's a special talent in that family. And an ability to survive and a sense of family that's gone beyond any others. I mean, if you look at all the financial dynasties of the world, we see them all the time rising and falling within one generation. They're unique, and there's something special about them.
One of their core beliefs was to prevent the influence of strangers on the business. The solution? Selectively marrying family members to each other. This philosophy of keeping strangers out of the business was laid down in the will of Meyer Amschel shortly before his death. This strategy has another goal.
In our family, we've always tried to keep love in the family. In this sense, it was more or less understood since childhood that children would never think of marrying outside the family, so that our fortune would never leave it.
In addition, only male descendants were allowed to run the business, a family policy tough as nails. The consequence? As the two Rothschilds of the German branch had 11 girls but not a single male heir, they met the same fate as the branch of Naples. They dissolved. No sons, no business. Don't think that they simply gave up. Come on, man, they are the Rothschilds. Today, the Rothschild dynasty, once synonymous with financial power and influence, has transformed into a modern global entity. The family's financial interests are primarily held within a publicly listed financial holding company, encompassing the French and British branches. The business scope has evolved beyond banking, now spanning asset management, consulting, and diversified investments. The Rothschilds of today also own many mansions, yachts, art collections, and even vineyards, but even this is probably just scratching the surface. The helm of the Rothschild empire today is, surprise, also a Rothschild. While some people don't even know who their great-grandfather was, the Rothschilds know how to handle succession. Alexandre de Rothschild is representing the 7th generation, showing the family's commitment to continuity and adaptation to changing times. Notably, their sphere of influence still touches political circles, as exemplified by their past employee, French President Emmanuel Macron. Macron worked as an investment banker at Rothschild & Co. for 4 years, where he was quickly parachuted into managing a massive acquisition and received a big payout. He later successfully moved into politics and became the economy minister of France. Because of the sheer size of the Rothschild family today, as well as their media shyness, it is unclear how wealthy the family really is today. This is also feeding ground for many conspiracies. While most families can't even agree on what to eat for dinner, some people believe that the Rothschild clan collectively rules the world. Today, this man in particular is a thorn in the side of Rothschild's opponents. Jacob Rothschild, the head of the British branch. On the internet, he is often compared with the greedy Mr. Burns from the Simpsons television series. Jacob Rothschild is said to control virtually all the world's banks in the background. There is no proof of this. However, his proximity to influential figures makes him a target for criticism and speculation. He was elevated to the British Order of Merit by the Queen. He owns 38% of the Rockefeller Group, and his friends include former US President Bill Clinton. Even if the theories about this family are not proven with solid facts until today, why do so many people believe in them anyway? It is still the case today that economic success and banking business are very mysterious to many people, and that people then try to find explanations that are perhaps easier to understand. The best weapon is actually reason and critical thinking. The Rothschilds are a great example of how money and massive influence can be cemented in a family legacy. And that's why it was so much fun doing this production. If you like this video, chances are you will also like our 1-hour production on another legend that is in the process of cementing such a legacy for him and his family. And that's George Soros. Check it out, or another random video that YouTube suggests to you.